So welcome to Cecilia's spot. We're going to make this really cute baby boy romper. You can make it for a girl, whatever you want. And let's have fun. Okay, and so after you've cut out your pattern pieces, you will have two of the main body part. And like I said, mine's in between 2T and 3T, so it's actually quite big. It's a bigger romper. This is the body part, and I did the folds, so there's two of them. There's two of the sleeves, okay, and they're in the fold too, and you want to just look at your design to make sure it's going the right way. The only other thing you need, besides your basic sewing stuff, is if you are using snaps or buttons, those. So I'm going to use snaps. Okay, so that is all of your supplies. Okay, so the next step is getting your front or back piece that you have, and then your binding piece for the neckline that you have. If you're not going to just hem it under or anything, you want to use a binding piece, or like I said, I'm using a different color, but a lot of people use the same color. And you would think you just sew it like this, but you don't. What you're going to do is turn it this way. You're going to fold it in half, and you're going to find the very center of this, and you're going to line it up with the center of this side, like this, the opposite way. And what you're going to do is you're going to pin this right here. I'm right-handed and I'm not doing this the right way, but I understand that, but just to give you a visual of that. And then you're actually going to take the end and you're going to go all the way up here, and you're going to pin that side. You're going to pin this side on, and it's going to be real awkward, okay? And as you go through, you're going to have this pinned up here. As you're sewing this on the edge here, you're going to stretch the top part to line up with this curve, okay? And it just takes a little time, you know, go slow. You don't want to stretch the bottom or it's going to get all ruffled. You just want to stretch this. So you'll sew here, start sewing, and as you're sewing, you're stretching this white piece to kind of curve it around, and then all the way up to the other side. And let me show you what it looks like. I did this on my other one, just so you can see what the end result is. This is what the end result will be. So that's how it ended up lining up, like this. And just give it a tug along the inside. Make sure everything is sewed in correctly. Use it like a 1/2 inch seam. You can see I got a little ruffle there, but it's pretty good. I haven't done this in a while. And that's what it'll end up looking like. And then, you know, after this, we're going to fold this over too and sew it. So don't worry about what the top looks like. Just here, that's what you want to do. So do that for the front and back piece, okay? Just take your time, go slow, and stretch it as you go. And then we'll meet back. Okay, so once you've sewn the front here, you're going to turn it over to the back. And this is what it'll look like. Yours might not be quite as wide as mine, but that's how wide I have mine. And then let me just set this down so I can show you guys. So there's this seam here we want to get rid of. So start in the middle because you're going to have to get it all lined up again, okay? So you're going to pull this up just like this, and you can iron this all if you want. Mine usually will stay if I do this, and then I'm going to flip this over to cover it like so, and then you want to pin it. And then comes the fun part. Trying to get this whole thing, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to have this all pushed up. It needs to all be up like that. Okay? And then you're going to pull these down just like that, and you're going to just keep pinning it. And make sure you get it over top of that so you can sew it. So so do the whole thing like this. And then I just finish this one side and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I pinned the rest of it. I have to adjust it a little bit, but then you'll turn it right side. Okay, and you can see, you know, you gotta stretch it as you go a little bit, but you can see what it'll look like. You can either move your pins to the right side, because you're gonna actually go right down here and sew the bottom. Okay, so you can move your pins to the right side, or you can do it this way. It'll just be a little trickier. You just got to be careful and pull your pins out when you're going along. Okay, so start on this edge and then sew all the way down, and do this for both sides, and then we'll meet back. Okay, so now it's time to make that envelope neckline. And as you can see with this side, it didn't turn out that well. I had to kind of fold it over to turn it. And that is because I used a very stiff, non-stretchy material. You really need a stretchy material for your neckline here. Okay, so now we're gonna make, put the sleeves together and do the envelope neckline. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your measuring tape, and you know, whether you use inches or centimeters, it's up to you and where you live. But what you wanna do is you wanna measure. So the baby that I'm making it for is turning 1, but he's toddler size. He's as big as my toddler is. So he's got a bigger head as well as like my toddler. So I'm only going to do 1 inch down, okay? And then you'll just kind of measure it the 1 inch down, and then you'll pin it. And then on the other side, you're going to do the same thing. And you can see that I've pinned it already on this side. Okay, a lot of people do 2 inches just to give you a reference. But it depends on how big you want the hole in the middle. And it will stretch though if you have stretchy material. Now I don't have stretchy material, so it's not going to stretch very well. That's why it has to be bigger. And next we're going to do the sleeves to attach, okay? If you're having sleeves. And for this, you want to take your sleeve piece and you want to fold it in half like so. And then once this is pinned here, what you'll do is you will line this up the middle with the middle, and then you will open it up and you will pin here, and then you're going to stretch it all the way on the sides here and pin it up here and down to there. And I will show you on this side. I already have done that. As you can see, you have to kind of pin and pull. So, but that's what that looks like. And then you're just going to sew right up on that edge and pull and kind of stretch it as you go, okay? I'm going to use the little zigzag stitch because it helps with stretching. And then as you can see, when you fold it this way, when you're done, it's going to be all together there. But you are going to stitch it like on this side, and you'll stitch it right up the side. Okay, and that's what I'm going to do here. You're going to measure, you're going to pin, you're going to fold this halfway, line it up, pin it, and then what I usually do is I take this end and I stretch it and pin it here, and take the other end, stretch it there, and then just line it up in between, okay? And then just go down and sew. And as you can see, this side's already put together, and then I'm just going to go down and sew this as well with stretched, and then we'll meet back. Alright, so this is what it looks like with the sleeves attached. And the next thing I wanted to do was, you can either do the hem on the end of the sleeve, or I use double-sided bias tape. You can see, and it just kind of folded it over and sewed it on with a zigzag stitch so that it stayed. But you can also use the same material you used for the neckline. Now mine's not stretchy though, and you can either do the same method where you would sew right down and then you'd flip it over, be sewed, and then fold it to the other side and then sew down again. Or you can use your iron and make this bias tape by folding both sides in, just like the bias tape is, like this, and then folding it over and then that strong zigzag stitch down the side. So I'm going to do that for both sides, and then we will attach the front to the back. Okay, once you're done with that, you put pattern facing pattern, you line them up, you line the sleeve holes, and you'll just pin right on down both sides, and then you're just gonna sew from here and right down with the zigzag stitch, okay? Or if you have the serger, obviously you can do the serger, but I don't have a serger. And that's it, and then we'll come back. So sew both sides. Okay, as you can see, I zigzagged and sewed both sides, and then I trimmed off some excess, and then just go and make sure that it's real tight, you know, that there's no holes, that you made a good sew through the whole thing on both sides. And then we're going to work with the next piece, this football shaped piece for the bottom here. So I'm going to turn my piece inside to the right side to show you. So this is what it should look like so far. I put it right side out. I do have to iron it all when we're finished, but next we're going to work on the back, the bottom back part. So you want to turn it to the back, and then you're going to get this little football piece. You want to fold it in half, find the center, and then you want the center here too by folding that in half, and you'll line it up fabric facing fabric. You're going to pin it in the center with the center, and then you're literally going to do what you've done on the other pieces and move this and pin the whole thing around. I'll pin it and then I'll show you what it looks like, okay? Okay, so I have this pinned together. So right sides facing right sides, and then I kind of lifted this up to pin it all together. So now, same thing, you're going to just sew right down here to have this piece. And then we have a couple more pieces to sew, and then we'll be done. So go ahead and sew that, and we'll meet back. So in case you're not used to sewing like this, what I did was take off the extra piece here of my sewing machine that stores everything, so that I could fit this. And then I'm going to put this right in, line it up here, and go ahead and sew. Now just make sure that you don't get the other leg or anything else that shouldn't be underneath of here, okay? Because you don't want to sew the two legs together, obviously. So then just go right through and sew this on. Okay, so that's what it looks like when you have sewed it on. So I just trim the excess here. Okay, so now you're going to get your 4 pieces out here, and I use white, but a lot of people use the same color fabric. And what you want to do is you want to take pattern facing pattern, and then you're just going to take a 1/8 inch straight stitch this time all the way around. Okay, and you'll end up with something like this, which will end up turning right side out. Okay, so do that. Okay, so now I have it, I sewed it, I trimmed it a little bit to make it a little thinner, and what we're going to do is connect it to the front piece now. So what I have here is my piece, like so, and I am going to actually just take it and put it right through here. I pinned it, so I took it and I flipped it and I pinned it so that we'll sew right up here. So this will be where it's closed. You want that on the outside, obviously, and then you'll flip it around and pin it so that it's all down like that, and it'll be pinned over. Okay, and then you're gonna sew right. It'll end up looking like that, okay, so that it's folded where it's already together on the outside. So then you'll just sew right up on the end here. I'm going to do a zigzag stitch around the whole thing, okay, and then we'll meet back. So just do that for the front. Okay, so this is what it ends up looking like. This ends up in the inside anyways, and it is sewed on. You can see like that, So it goes on the inside, and this is to help with the buttons or the snaps, whatever you're going to use. Now, you're going to fold it the way it's supposed to go, like this, and then you're going to sew. You can feel it here, so you're going to sew about 1/8 to 1/2 inch out here just to stabilize it and have that nice look. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Okay, so that is roughly what it should end up looking like, so that you have the inside here. So now you're going to get your other piece. Oh, I dropped it. Here it is. And we're going to do the same thing with the back. But this time, you have that extra little flap, so you're going to go around that as the outside. So you're going to do the same thing, except you're going to have to curve it so that it goes around here too. And I'll put more steps with pictures in the tutorial, but you're going to have to do a lot more stretch stitching here and curve it around there and back, okay? And then we'll flip it, same thing, and do another stitch from the outside, and then we'll meet back. And then all we have to do is, you can either do your buttonholes or your snap closure, and then you're done. So I did want to show you, this is what it looks like pinned in. Okay, and then you're just going to go through and sew it. Okay. I'm going to use the zigzag stitch again on the outside to sew it. Okay, so this one you actually just sew that one side and that's it, because you can't really sew it back to here because you want this extra flap here. So you just did the one sew and it ends up like that, and you flip it in because these two are going to snap together. That's where I'm going to put my snaps. So the last thing before we do the snaps or the buttons is folding the bottom here to create the hem however you want. I'm just going to... Okay, so that's it. That's what it ends up looking like. Now I'm going to put snaps in, and I have the easy attachment snap kit that I use a hammer with, and you can use buttons or whatever you need, but I'm going to do the snaps. And that's it. Okay, so once you've had this sewn already, you can put, if you're going to do snaps or buttons, or, you know, you could even do Velcro, but it won't stay very well, you know, because little kids are moving a lot. So I put buttons, and you just want to measure where they are. I happen to use one of these easy attacher kits. They even have instructions on the back of how to do it with a hammer. It's quite easy. However, for mine, the fabric that I used here was pretty thick, so it took, you know, I'd hit it pretty good and just make sure they're really staying in there. So then that's what I did, is put my snaps in. And then I still have to put a couple more in on the outside, but that is it. So this is the end. This is what my project looks like. And I think it turned out pretty good. I'm gonna make another one with stretchy fabric here that's not so firm, and see how that turns out. But I hope you enjoyed this Cecilia's spot, and you can check out the website and the Facebook page for more information and step-by-step tutorials. And let me know if there's any other tutorials you'd like to see. Thanks!